This is CIA, Contagious Influencers of America. I'm David Sams, along with
Victoria Robinson.
And we have just returned
from a long trip.
Well, I don't know what made it long for you, but for me, it was just perfect.
It was on the other side of where we are now. That's a long way.
We got to go down the red carpet, or is it up the red carpet? Whichever direction
up,
we
down,
went.
to the side. We were all over it.
And we got to visit with the Tebow brothers.
We did, Tim and Robby Tebow. I was so impressed with both of them.
They're just such awesome individuals. Not only that, but we got to give them our Contagious Influencer Award. It's only the second time that we've given out this award.
The second time, and we gave it to him twice.
Well, let me explain. The Contagious Influencer Award is an award that we give to very special influencers around the world who are making a huge, huge difference.
And what better guy than Tim Tebow?
Now, the first time we gave this out was to Craig and Samantha Johnson and Joel and Victoria Osteen for their Champions Club at Lakewood Church.
So Tim is in really good company.
And Champions Club, by the way, has gone from one Champions Club to more than 70 around the world. And that's to really raise up those families and those kids with autism. It's just done remarkably well. And Tim Tebow, of course, Tim and Robby have the Tim Tebow Foundation,
which they sponsor the Night to Shine, which is also an incredible night all across the country.
It's like a prom night experience. That's their thing. This past year, they did something like 650 churches. They have all of these kids that normally don't get, raised up as they raise them up for this event. It's a red carpet event. More than 650 churches. They love all over them.
These kids become king and queens of the night.
Right.
They're special needs kids. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity for parents to feel good for their kids to get to have a night that other kids get to have and take for granted, really, and take advantage of. So these kids really appreciate it.
So these are two brothers who are on a mission. They're on a roll. We've never really had the opportunity to sit down with them and really have the kind of conversation that we did a few days ago. One reason that we got them both together is because they are producing a movie together.
That's right.
That's now in theaters.
Called Run the Race.
Run the Race. And
I didn't know this, but his brother Robby has been involved in a couple other movies. He was in Year of the Quarterback in 2010 and ESPN Outside the Lines in 2005. So he's a little more experienced than Tim, but this is Tim's first movie that he's producing.
Are you saying Tim is not experienced?
Not in the movie making business.
This guy's on a roll. For those of you who are on another planet and have no idea who Tim Tebow is, of course, he was with the Denver Broncos, the New York Jets, and now he's with the New York Mets.
Exactly. And I did not know that he was the first homeschooled student to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't know enough about football, but I know enough to know that's a big deal.
Oh, it's a big deal. Oh, by the way, he did win a Heisman.
He did.
Right?
Yeah.
He won the Heisman.
He did. He won the Heisman. And he was homeschooled.
If you combine the winning the Heisman and the homeschool thing, and of course his mom's a speaker. She was just in Nashville this past weekend.
That's right. She talks about the story of almost abort. They wanted her. The doctors wanted her to abort Tim. And she refused. They said he had all kinds of health issues. She refused to do it. And I would say that the joke's on them.
Yeah, she definitely made the right choice. So we're going to get to that interview, but I just wanted to mention what a blessing it was to spend the time with them. And the reason we're kind of joking about giving him the award
because he literally got it twice. I think he looked just as surprised that second time, thinking, did I get another award?
No, he's received the Contagious Influencer Award actually 3 times because I talked to him on the phone.
That's right.
I talked to him on the phone from right here in this studio about 3 months ago. And I said, Tim, you know what? We are so blessed by you and your organization and what you have done for these kids that we have decided to give you our award.
And we are so blessed. We're so excited about you that we've given it to you 3 times to prove how excited we are that we want to give you this award.
And it was so great. When I gave it to him over the phone, he was so appreciative. Yeah. I mean, it was just amazing. Here's what it sounded like. Tim?
Yes, sir.
How you doing? It's David Sams. We would like to award you our Contagious Influencer Award for the amazing work that you and your foundation are doing.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and I'm just that means a lot. I just appreciate those kind words as well. Thank you.
Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome. And he was very appreciative to see it. It was a beautiful award. I don't think he was expecting it to be so nice. This crystal and this beautiful cabinet with blue velvet. I mean, it was really, I was impressed.
Let's put a picture of it on the website. But we showed up, we gave him the award again in person when we interviewed him, and then we went on the red carpet and we showed up again. I'm sure that by the third time he's like, are these people going to follow me around?
Yeah, I was kind of hiding in the corner almost when you brought that award out for the third time.
You were not
Actually,
hiding.
I wasn't hiding. I couldn't wait to talk to him. It was great. What I was looking forward to was seeing Demi, the girlfriend, the fiance now. I wanted to see that rock on her finger, which she's so tiny, I'm surprised she wasn't falling over.
You know, what is it about
the ring?
Rocks and sizes of
rocks. Girls want to see
ridiculous.
The ring. I didn't get a chance to say, hey, Demi, have you said yes to the dress yet?
But I just don't get the size of the rock thing.
Well, I'm just telling you it's a girl thing, okay? Doesn't mean it has to be a certain size. Girls want to see the ring, and then they want to see the dress.
Well, speaking of seeing something, we can't really see it, but we can listen to now Tim Tebow and Robby Tebow back-to-back winners right here on CIA. And then when we come back, I've got something to share with you.
Oh, gosh.
So first up, Tim Tebow. Why is it in every game, especially with my beloved Buckeyes, it seems like they play the toughest, the hardest in the last 2 minutes of the game, and you go, what happened to the other 58 minutes? Is it always like that?
No, that's a really good question. You asked that about my freaking life in sports. I always feel like I was the best in the last 2 minutes, and people were like, did you just try harder? No, I don't know. It just happened that way.
It just ramps up, it revs up.
I think it's the adrenaline, it's the emotion, it's the environment, it's everything. Where it's just there's something special about it. It's the end, it's that moment. It's hard to put into words. Some people kind of do and some don't, and it's just being able to handle that moment.
Now, do you feel that way about your first movie? I mean, look, it's one thing to sit around and talk about it. I'm sure you and your brother got together and conjured up this, oh man, this is the next thing we got to do. It feels right.
No.
How did it happen?
Not at all. Not even close.
Okay. What happened?
We were right down the street, actually. And so we read the script and we're crying. And we share it with our family and friends and they're crying. And we're kind of all touched, but by a different piece of the script. And we're just like, man, this is awesome. And didn't really ever have the goal of getting into the movie industry. I just kind of have the goal of bringing faith, hope, and love to whatever I do in life. And if God gives us a platform to be able to share something, then we want to do that. I've tried to do that with football or baseball or my foundation or whatever. And so then we read the script. We thought, man, if we could kind of bring the right people together and share this, which is a real life Christian film. Mm-hmm. There's a lot growing up that were Christian films, but I didn't really feel like they were real life. It was like almost a Disney movie where everything ended, was, all of a sudden you make a change and everything's perfect.
Right.
It's not life. We live in a broken world and it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be heartache and disappointments. And it's not that this movie never says everything's going to be perfect. It's just we get to know someone that is, and we get to run after him, and we get to have faith, hope, and love in the midst of the disappointments, and we don't have to be overcome by our disappointments because we know who already overcame the world.
So what was it about this particular story that really gave you the incentive to put your name on it?
So much. I think it was the relationships was the biggest aspect, because I believe we're built for relationships and community, with God first and then with others. And so the brother relationship, the boyfriend-girlfriend, the coach relationship, the dad relationship, the nanny, how all of those play such a huge part in the development of these two brothers that are trying to live out their dreams and get out of their town and make it. And all of a sudden, making it changes. Making it was getting a scholarship, was getting out of their town. But then when you run the race we're talking about, running to God, not from him, all of a sudden making it now is not just getting a scholarship or succeeding in sports, but it's knowing the God of this universe.
Tell me what it is about where you are going in life that makes you comfortable in your skin right now.
It sounds silly, but I'm trying to live every day to the fullest with purpose, passion, and meaning. I don't know what's next. I didn't know that this movie was something, a few years ago that I was going to get into. I didn't know that, 5 years ago I was going to be playing baseball. God opens and closed doors, but in every door He opens, I want to, see what I can do to help, who I can help, how I can help them. There's been so many things that have changed in my life. And, if you asked me in college where I was going to be, I'd say, hopefully, winning a few Super Bowls. But, God closed that door and He opened other ones. And some disappointments and some, praises for it. But in everything, you can try to look for what God is doing and trust Him in the midst of the process.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Someone out there right now is listening to this and they're going, gosh, you know what? How come God gives one guy so much talent and I can't even get a call back on the job I'm on? And I go to church, I'm a faithful person. Life isn't fair. What would you say to encourage them?
I'd say that God has a unique plan and purpose for everyone, and He loves you drastically, that He gave His best for you. He gave His Son for you. And He wants to know you and have an intimate relationship with you, and we're not all called to do the same thing. I think we do have a very similar mission, and that's to love God and love people. But we can do that in our different places. The church isn't a building we go to on Sunday. It's a people we get to do life with. But those people aren't called to do the same things. We're all called to be different parts of the body. And we have to take what God has given us and where He has put us and do the most with it. We have to maximize that. And so wherever you're at, wherever He's called you, wherever He's put you, there is something for you to do. There is purpose in your life. There is meaning in why you're there. And when we look at the heroes in the Bible, they could have asked a lot of those questions. Why am I writing this book from prison? Why am I in a lion's den? Why am I getting? Why is the king trying to kill me? All of these things. But then but they had faith in the midst of those moments that later on they could see how God was using it and how they would be heroes in the Bible that millions of people would look up to one day. And they didn't know it at the time. Job didn't know it at the time when he's going through heartache, but how God was going to honor him at the end of it. And so to someone that's going through a tough time, I wouldn't say that it's easy. I wouldn't say that it all makes sense, but I would say if you try to live it out for Jesus, I believe at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it.
So Victoria, I did not know what to expect from Robby. I mean, I've never talked to him, but obviously Robby is, I'm not going to say that he's the brains because they're both incredible.
Ouch.
Both incredibly smart.
Very.
And they really have their act together. And I was just so impressed with them both. But he really, really knows his stuff. So here's my chat with Robby Tebow. So this is your first film. Mm-hmm. Is this going to be something that you do on an ongoing basis, film production?
Absolutely. We set out to tell this story and to do it in a real way. And, this was, our first theatrical film, feature film. And so we're going to get through this one and then we'll look at the next opportunity and to use the vehicle of media to tell stories and hopefully impact people. So it's definitely a passion of mine. It's something that I love doing. It doesn't feel like work because every day it's fun. Mm-hmm. And so being creative and telling a story is, it's one of the biggest, enterprises in our world today. And so, I think for me, it's doing it at the highest level. Because a lot of times I think faith-based films get put in a box and kind of looked at differently, and it's not necessarily a good thing. And so we set out to hopefully change that narrative and do things at the highest level with the best stories. And so I think on an ongoing basis we wanted to kind of change that narrative.
What was it about this particular story where you just said this is the one?
I think, the story is about family. It's about brothers. It's about what happens when somebody supports you and encourages you and comes behind you and loves you and has your back. It's also real and it's gritty, and it's something that I think a lot of people can relate to, because there's a lot of times that we can all relate to hard times and adversity and challenges. And so we wanted to make a good movie, undeniably good, not because I think a lot of times faith-based movies can get put in a box and judged a certain way. And so we wanted to kind of change that dynamic and culture and do something that was really good, that people hopefully will link to and relate to and like, and but be motivated and inspired and hopefully, be a little bit better after the movie than before walking out of the theater. So it's been a pretty amazing journey.
Have you two, you and Tim, been connected at the hip all along?
We've always been very close. We've always been, best friends. I mean, our whole family's that way. I'm the middle of 5. He's the baby of 5, 2 older sisters. We've always been really close. But, there's a special bond that we have. And so it was cool to collaborate on this together and put our creativity behind something and just be all in and do something together. It meant a lot and really strengthened our bond.
So when you were growing up, what was life like in the Tebow home?
Chaotic at times, but fun. We grew up on a farm with 42 acres and cows, chickens, dogs, a 2-acre garden, and my dad would put us to work. But me, Peter, and Timmy would find a way to get a football and go in the yard or baseball and play and get into lots of mischievous things that kids do growing up. So a ton of fun. And, we have a very tight family for sure.
What is it that ultimately is the bottom line you're calling?
My dad's my hero, and he always set out to do something in life that one, like you said, you're called to do. And sometimes that takes a while to figure out what your calling is. But in anything you do, understand the value and the importance in what your testimony is, how you're, impacting people. Because a lot of times, sometimes we can, we say, we talk to people, but every day we're influencing people with our actions. And only a few times that, it happens to be words. And so it's just it's understanding and being responsible for what you do and how you impact something that's bigger than yourself. And so I think it's kind of understanding that and following his lead that he taught us growing up. And so that's been he's been an incredible example for us to follow.
Let's talk about the foundation, what the real passion is behind that. And I want to talk about the Night to Shine. Mm-hmm. I know you are in over 600 churches now.
650 this year.
What surprises me is that you've got 30 some denominations that all.
I think over 35 different denominations.
I mean, that just doesn't happen.
It's crazy. Well, I think the cool part of it is that everybody's coming together, and they're coming together for a cause that's bigger than themselves, because it's about celebrating people that aren't normally celebrated, and it's about loving someone and coming alongside and caring. And it's incredible to see what's happened. I mean, I think there was over 23 countries this year, over 200,000 volunteers, and to be a part of that and to see these kids and these adults even walk the red carpet and dance and have a blast and to be celebrated and loved. And I think the important thing is that's how God looks at them every day. And we don't always, we bypass things, and we, so it's about valuing somebody and treating them how, what we feel like God looks at them at.
First of all, you're in year 5? I mean, this isn't year 50.
Yeah. Year 5.
Can you imagine what it's going to be by year 10 or year 15? It's one of those things that you just say, first of all, why hasn't this been done forever?
Right.
Because I think that's probably, special needs ministry is probably the greatest opportunity that I can think of for church growth. Mm-hmm. I mean, even Joel Osteen's church, when they launched Champions Club, within 6 months, 300 new families had joined the church.
Right.
Scripture calls us to put these people first, right?
Sure.
So what happened?
Well, a lot of times I think you know, people with disabilities, you know, get looked at and overlooked and viewed a different way. And so I think it's about changing the perspective that people have. And it's been incredible to see what's happened over the last 5 years. And it's a movement that's happening. And I can't wait to see what it looks like in 20 years from now. Because I think people now are seeing, man, it's okay to go up and hug someone, love on them, give them a high five, and have a conversation. And I think the perspective and the narrative is changing, where people maybe just before didn't know how to approach or how to act. And so it's really encouraging, and it's really cool, and it's amazing to see what God's doing all over the world with this thing. And so just, you know, it's cool to be a part of it and to watch it grow. And, you know, I think we'll see hopefully 20, 30, 50 years, and even when we're not around, you know, what's happened because of this.
So I have to ask you, you know I was going to ask you this, but I need a childhood story. Okay. I need to know
lots of them.
I need to know some kind of trouble you guys got into, something that maybe your parents don't even know about. Okay.
You need some dirt.
I need some dirt.
Yeah, I like it. Well, we definitely got into quite a few situations that were sticky, but the first one that popped in my mind is we got home from church. It was Sunday afternoon, and we had watched a John Wayne movie, and so we went out to the stables and we were hanging. Timmy dared me to hang on the rafters, and he would run the horse out, and he's like, "You can't drop down with no saddle and just drop on top of the horse and run out with it." So he did. Of course, he dared me, so I got to do it, right? So sure enough, I hang from the rafters, and he runs the horse out, and I drop on top and have nothing to hang on to. So immediately get thrown off and land and break my arm, and it, you know, was doing a whole L shape, and it's like, thank you for that one, Timmy. So that was one of about 4 different times that I broke my arm growing up. So 2 broken collarbones, countless amounts of stitches. So lots of injuries happened.
Now hold on. Did he have this thing about, well, if I just get him to break an arm or a leg or two, I just know I can keep him over there a little bit, and I won't have this big competition head on. Did he have something up his sleeve?
No, we always got along really good. Actually, when I was in college, I would send, you know, I'm 18, Timmy's 12 years old. I would send him my college football workout schedule, and so when he was 12 years old, he was following my college football workout book. So he always was motivated and driven. Those fun times for sure.
That was good.
I got to beat up on him a lot, and that's probably why he's as tough as he is.
And that's why you're getting him in the film business, to beat up on him again.
For sure. Yeah, it's just another outlet to do it. For sure.
Well, thank you much.
Hey, appreciate it. Yeah. Enjoyed it.
And good luck with the film.
Thank you
God
so
bless
much.
you, and keep the faith, all right?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so there we have it. Tim and Robby Tebow together. What a dynamic duo.
I'm telling you, David, I was just as impressed with his brother Robby as Tim. I've never met either one of these guys, but you always hear about Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow this, Tim Tebow that. Not knocking Tim Tebow. He's done some incredible things. But his brother, to me, is of the same caliber. He may not can play football and baseball as well, but the guy speaks with such knowledge, and he's so articulate with his words. I was so blown away by his brother Robby.
They're such a winning combination, and I think that their film that's in theaters will be the first of many that they produce together. It's astonishing the amount of talent in that family. Mm-hmm. And you think of Tim, I mean, he's played for the Broncos, the Jets, and as I mentioned, he's in the New York Mets organization. He's in AAA ball this year. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he'll move up to the big leagues. I think it would really help the Mets and help their attendance and all that.
As a girl, I would say he's already moved up to the big leagues. He put a ring on it.
Oh, here we go with the ring size again.
I'm not talking about the size. I'm talking about the fact that he's engaged to be married. This guy is the bachelor of the year, of the decades. Let's just be honest. Every woman has been trying to get this guy to put a ring on it. But this one beautiful woman, Demi, I think she's from South Africa. She's from somewhere else, from not here. Got him to put a ring on it. I'd love to interview her and find out what is so special about this chick.
Hey,
she nailed Tim Tebow for a wedding date.
You had your chance. You could have interviewed her.
Okay, true. You don't have to rub that in and remind me. I wanted to interview her so bad, but when she didn't come up with Tim and Robby when David and I interviewed them on the red carpet, so I missed my opportunity. So Demi, have you said yes to the dress yet?
I'm hoping that we get invited to the wedding.
Don't hold your breath.
What? Wait a minute.
I think he saw us coming and went, oh my gosh, here they come again.
Well, we did give him that award, 3 times.
3 times.
One by phone.
Not once, not twice, 3 times. Not 3 different awards, the same one.
Yeah, but we wanted to make sure it worked. And then we got the right photos. And you know what? Let's put the photo up on the website. I think people really appreciate it because it is an amazing award. It is something that we've only given out twice, something that we give to those who are raising up those with special needs and making a difference in the world.
It's a beautiful award. It's not just a very prestigious award. It's a beautiful award. I was very proud of that award.
So we had a wonderful time in Los Angeles. Well, at least I did.
I did. What does that mean? I had a great time.
We had fun at Universal, didn't we?
We did. Thank you, NBC Universal, for the great tickets. That was a blast.
It was great. VIP tickets, by the way.
Yeah, VIP. I mean, we didn't have to wait in line for anything. And we were passing people, and I'm just going to tell you, we were both looking at each other going, we're all that and a bag of chips.
And then we took the tour. And I took you to the Psycho House. I thought you would really appreciate that.
Yeah, ha.
And you thought I was home.
Okay. And that fake Anthony Hopkins came out onto the patio or the porch. That was kind of a nice touch.
That was great.
Yeah, it was great. It was good times.
I think that traveling with you is an event.
It's an event and an adventure. And don't forget, you got me some butter beer ice cream. Remember?
Butter beer.
It was butter beer ice cream from the Hogwarts, whatever. I don't watch those shows, but I know that butter beer and it's yummy.
We had the popcorn.
Yeah, the popcorn was yummy too.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
From the popcorn store.
The popcorn store that has any kind you can think of, from jalapeno cheese popcorn to cupcake popcorn and red velvet cake popcorn. It was amazing.
I think I really appreciated that popcorn because it sort of reminds me of the way I like to live my life in living color. Because, can you imagine just regular popcorn? That's like living your life in black and white.
Well, after going to that store, it's regular popcorn now is boring.
Oh, I know. It was a fun time, and we so appreciate the Tebow brothers. I expect so much from them as a team in the years ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, listen. I want that wedding invitation. I know I should be there. I just feel this like amazing magnet now.
We promise we won't bring a mic.
Or an award.
Or an award.
No more awards. I think we got to get out of here.
Yeah, we do.
We will be back next week with another fascinating episode of CIA, Contagious Influencers of America. And please remember to share us. When you share us, we become contagious. The message becomes contagious. We love sharing these incredibly motivating, inspirational stories with folks all around the world. And by the way, we're now in the top 10 of all spirituality podcasts on iHeartRadio.
And there's close to 100,000, right?
In the category of religion and spirituality, there are about 100,000 or so podcasts. There's 650,000 podcasts in the world. God. I think my mother's going to do a podcast next week.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to do a podcast that's listening to this right now. I think we ought to just start the school,
school of podcasts.
A school for that,
We should have done that 650,000 podcasts
Yeah,
ago.
well, a buddy did, and he's doing really well. So
I'm sure.
So join us next week for another episode of CIA, Contagious Influencers of America. And don't forget, you can find us online at contagiousInfluencers.com or CIApodcast.com. And of course, we're on the Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and wherever you get your podcast. See you next time.